Assalamu alaikum. We'll be getting started pretty soon, shortly, inshallah. Just bear with us. Just waiting for everybody to sign on.
Oh yeah, Allah.
Assalamu alaikum. What
Well,
kind
so
of background you got going on?
I was working on a code conversation with Hussein, and this is the Red House land in the background. But I
Oh
forgot
man, that's
because
too much.
yesterday we were on the I was on the Artuf account. Let me get rid of this.
Oh man, that's funny.
Okay, there we go.
All right, let's see. I think Mubarak will just jump on.
Inshallah.
Um, so did you have time to pull them, or we're just gonna just kind of go through the clips, like just click on whatever?
All right, so I'm gonna
Let's
make
see.
me co-host, and then I got you.
I think I did, didn't I? Did I know? Nick. Yeah, I make co-host. Yeah, I got you.
All right. So first thing first, assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to the Art of Pop-Up Show. We are doing this pop-up show because there was a video that came out from Timoy Historical Facts or whatever the channel's name is. It was called that before. I don't know what it is now. They probably rebranded it to what it is now. And they probably rebranded it now to whatever it is. But it was a sister on there who, gave some accounts of her story involving Mubarak Jelani from the Dar Islam till after the Dar Islam, Mubarak Jelani came, and she was going over some accounts, which alhamdulillah, she had the courage to speak up and say what she had to say. But we have to point out the falsehood whenever we see it. And no one gets to escape that, because if you're brave enough to speak upon something and be a part of it, then you have to be a part of it at all times, even when you're wrong. So inshallah, we'll try to be respectful and not go AWOL. But
Yeah, I mean, so alhamdulillah, salatu wassalam ala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we're just gonna get right into it. We're not gonna waste too much time. It's a pop-up show. May Allah guide us all and help our tongues in this. To me, when I was watching this video, I was just a little bit it's just sad. Especially when you see like the elders of the community still stuck on this stuff, and then, for anybody that's just listening, especially people that are still like in the cult of TMOA, they're probably hearing it and just probably hearing like just a regular story. But for everybody who's outside of that fishbowl and looking back in on it, there's so many things that are said that just kind of like brings out the highlights of like this whole cult mentality. And she tells a story. We're not going to play the whole video. We're just going to go through some of the clips, and I think the first one that we have marked is at the 114 mark.
Yep. So we're right over here.
All right. So let's just play that to like 144.
Have tea and of course sweets, and then talk about topics dealing with the history of the Jamaat mainly, because we elders are returning, and a lot of what we did, how all the things we did being with Shaji, we want to get this out to y'all so that you'll know what we did, what we had to sacrifice.
All right, so the lovely, smart, intelligent human beings in R2F, right? They pointed out how you can see here at 137, she wants to say suffer, all right, but said sacrifices instead, because she has to mask it, because she knows inside, like, yeah, listen, we went through a lot of unnecessary stuff because of this man. So just pay attention to that. You can see from her body language and stuff, she's holding a lot of things in, because if you have to go back and live it, it's probably hard as hell, especially knowing what actually happened. It wasn't roses at all. So
Shaji told you that your parents have sacrificed a lot so that you can be where you're at this point, and we just wanted to think,
and so pause it right there. So I just wanted to bring up that so she mentioned how like the elders of the community are passing away, which makes it sad, because unfortunately some have passed and they've passed upon this falsehood. But she mentioned the sacrifice, the suffering, or whatever they went through to get y'all to this point. And I really want you guys to stop and think about what point y'all are at right now.
Where have you got to? Yep.
You have a female imam who your supposed holy Ahl Bayt family, Sheikh's family that's so guided and sent by Allah, are literally showing how ghetto and ratchet and they are right in the public. Right? You have, later on in the video, she starts talking about like, moving to the lands and the longest hijra and all this, and how they, out of the ghetto and all these different things, where most of the people in TMOA still live in the ghetto, whether it's subsidized projects in the nearest cities, subsidized housing, Section 8 housing, or the actual ghettos on the actual lands.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
like if y'all came on top, you had the picture of the land in the background. It's just ghetto in the country.
Yeah, like this whole idea that because you live in a rural place where there's trees around that you aren't in the ghetto. No, all the lands are trailer parks. I don't know who doesn't know this. You guys, just because someone buys a double wide trailer and puts two of them together, so it's a 1-story house, it's still a trailer. You just put two of them together. So all of them are trailer parks. There's trash, all the lands. I've been to every land besides the one in Tennessee and Canada, I think. All the lands that I've been to are all ghetto. There's trash there. The grass is hardly ever kept. So all the stuff that goes into it.
It's like a third world country.
Yeah.
You come from the United States of America, drive through some back roads, and then look in. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm like in like some third world country.
Yeah, like in the land of Michigan, there was this one house or trailer. Sorry, there was one trailer where literally the family lived there. It was just a giant hole in the middle of the trailer that was like, and it was cold in the trailer because I mean it's cold in Detroit, so it's just cold. There's just a giant hole. And like, oh, hold on, like we have to carry y'all over the hole so you don't fall in as kids. I was like, oh, okay, this is fun. Anyway.
And for you elders that are listening to this, or people that were around from the beginning, whether you were a child at that point or an adult, and actually can reflect that the position that you were in at that time, and then thinking of where you would be 40 years from then, right? To get to this point where you are right now. Is this all you imagine and hope for? Is this what you foreseen? Your sheikh has passed away. No global jihad, no Mahdi, nobody leading armies, nobody like leading countries and all these different things that you were promised. Is this what you had in mind? Instead of looking back at the past, which, you know, this whole thing is just about, it's nostalgia. And for anybody who knows anything about like escaping abuse, escaping toxic situations, nostalgia is one of the biggest enemies to like obtaining freedom.
Yep.
Because you look back on things and you generally have good feelings about looking back because you are with your friends, your families, you had good times. Even though you went through tough times, you know, you kind of forget how bad it was and remember like the good things. Oh, we had a lot of fun. And this is what she kind of goes through in this video, but really stop and think. And I really want you to ask yourselves and really truthfully contemplate on where you guys were 40 years ago. And are you in a better situation now? And are you in the position that your sheikh, your Murshid promised that you would be in at this point?
Yep. Was it worth it in the very end? All right. So.
Yeah. I think the next clip starts at 2:31.
So,
it stops or it starts there?
Oh, it's right there? Okay, yeah, go ahead.
No, it starts here. Yeah.
We're still living in Brooklyn. And at that time, there was 2 streets that the Muslims basically moved. There was an apartment complex between Georgia Avenue and Alabama Avenue. And Muslims started moving into the complex. And the landlord, the owners of the complex, was very happy to have us there because as we moved in, bad elements moved out. And they knew we didn't drink, we didn't fight, we didn't tear up apartments, we didn't do drugs, anything. So they were very happy. So basically, we took control of Georgia and Alabama Avenue, and we raised our children with confidence that nothing would happen to them.
So pause it right there.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
we've been saying this for
this kind of just debunks the whole theory that the other old heads try to persuade that, like, the members of the Dar of Islam were drug addicts, they were alcohol abusers, crack cocaine, they were in the inner city gang, all this stuff. No, this isn't like, I'm sure in every subset population of society, you'll have those members who are doing drugs, alcohol, criminals. But for the most part, that's not society. Like, not everyone's a criminal. So this idea that Barjalani saved y'all from the inner cities and turned y'all from these ghetto hoodlums into these pious saints, sheikhs, Sufis isn't the case at all. And every Dar al Islam person will tell you that.
And it's funny because like they just everything, I mentioned this before, everything that there is no defense of TMOA and Mubarak Jelani. There's no defense. Yeah. Anything that they put out can always be used as evidence against themselves. Yeah. So right here, she is contradicting her new Sheikha or Morshida that we just had a video she put out several months ago about how bad the Dar al-Islam was, and she's talking about how good the Dar al-Islam was.
Or what she said,
right?
She said they were having Salat in English or something like that. Like, again, you can never use blanket statements for individuals. Like, sure, there might have been some who were new to Islam, like Jafar mentioned how his parents were new to Islam, and so for a while before they learned Arabic, they were or learned source Arabic, they were reading English, okay, which is cool. But this isn't the case for everyone. That's not how it works. Like, blanket statements never are true. There may have been some in the Dar who did this X, Y, and Z, but for the most part, from what we know of the Dar of Islam, it wasn't like they were just all just dumb idiot black folks who needed a savior. No, this inferiority complex we have is insane as African Americans.
Yeah,
weird.
And they were moving away from, like, anybody that was involved in the violence. For the most part, they were making an attempt to move away from that type of lifestyle into a Muslim lifestyle. Then what happened when Barjilani came? And all of a sudden, y'all started killing people, murdering people, blowing stuff up, assassinations, fire bombings. So y'all went from that place where, like, landlords were like happy to have y'all there because bad elements would leave, to a place where, like, now a landlord would be like, who are these people that are killing people? Who are these people that are, like, I mean, come on, like, it's just, but you can't even see that. You can't even see this stuff. So you ignore all the negative stuff and just pay attention to, like, these talking points that you guys have developed over the last 4 decades.
Yep. And it's not even like they're talking to you, they're talking at you. It's like, okay, well, this happened and that happened, but really there's nothing to verify these claims. And so all the things that the Dar al-Islam accomplished with Barjilani and the Jamaat didn't accomplish that at all. It actually kind of regressed us, like went backwards as a society. And we see this as it goes on. She can talk about the schools.
Blocks from where we lived, and that was our musalla, that was our school. So we were prior to that, Muslim Pro, Madrasa Shahideen.
Somebody get the tea.
Buildings, and we finally was able to move the whole school into one building. The first floor was where the Juma Salat.
So we could pause it here. So, I mean, just more of, like, she's just mentioning that they had a school, they had a whole school, they had a musalla, they had a place where they prayed, they had a up and coming thriving Muslim community. And look at that 40 years down the road, and you have all these you have a few makeshift schools in the Jamaat. Don't you guys think you should have progressed beyond what you had before Mubarak Jilani came? You had the perfect guide that came. Shouldn't you guys have, like, blossomed and have, like, universities and all these different things by now?
What you should be is some of the, like, leading, like, if Mubarak Jilani was not even all, if he was a quarter of what he claimed, you should have some of the most advanced scholars in Islam, and just all of that, because if a quarter, so let's see. So some of the claims he had. So let's see. God, right? So he wasn't that, right? The Mujaddid of the century, right? Wasn't that? Seven Sultan of Fukr, wasn't that? Spiritual guide for all mankind, wasn't that, right? So if he was just one of those things, then this community of the Jamaat would be so far advanced and so blessed. Because they say all the time, oh, our community is so blessed. Blessed how? Explain to me how you guys are blessed. Because we see communities that have been blessed. They work, they get things done. Like when they need masjids built, they built masjids and get it done relatively fast. Is the masjid in your land ever done? Has it ever been finished? Because
I think they just got sheetrock up.
For as long as I've been alive, they have been working on that masjid. And it's not done yet. Like the sewer in South Carolina land, the sewage smell, as long as I've been alive, they're working on getting rid of that smell. The roads on every land, as long as I've been alive, working on the roads. It hasn't got done yet. So what have you accomplished? Where's the fruit of your labor for the sacrifices and suffering you guys did for those 40 years?
Yeah. And then we go to the 527 mark. That's good enough.
Because of our training in the Dar, we were taught that you didn't make a big deal about his birthday as Rasulullah. To the point that if you were teaching, when I was teaching, and we happened to notice, tomorrow's, the 12th of Rabiul Awwal, then we would give a class the next day. Okay, today's birthday of our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and we give a whole thing about his family, blah, blah, blah. And then the next day we go into something else. And that was...
Yeah, okay. So, and not to get into the whole bid'ah or not bid'ah of celebrating Rayyum Milad, because there's a lot of different fatwas on this. But for the most part, the way the Jamaat celebrates the Prophet Sallallahu birthday and the Milad Nabi is so extravagant. And there's others who say you can just like fast on the birthday, that's sufficient. But for the Jamaat, right, during my time there, right, we're making tasawwuf around like the shrines and stuff, and having parades and stuff. It's it's totally like, even if it was permissible in some views, the way y'all went about doing it is so extreme. And Islam teaches us to stay away from extremities. So like, I don't
well,
know.
she gets into like she and then like let it play for another few minutes, and you get
any type of remembrance or celebration. And so, because other Muslim countries, they have a whole big celebration.
Pause it. That right there.
Where?
That's it. Well, the other like Pakistan, they do.
Okay, yeah.
Some of the Shiite run countries, they do.
That's basically what I was gonna say. It's like,
but like,
man,
what Muslim countries do in their countries does not establish what Islam is.
Islam does, yeah,
Muslims,
exactly.
right?
I mean, if she would have said like, okay, in Mecca and Medina, they do this, right? Then every Muslim country should follow suit because that's Mecca and Medina, right? But
right.
I mean,
yeah, and again, it is. Well, go ahead.
If you're gonna have like a reason to do something, you should have at least some support. Like, okay, we do this because of this hadith right here, and based off of what this hadith says here, we do this, right? This is a hadith of a Sahaba, Hazrat Umar or something like that. So we're gonna follow this hadith of the Khalifa Rashidun, and then we're gonna use this as our basis to support this. They just say because we live Ahl Bayt.
Yeah, and you know the thing is, like the what she described, what they did for the Mawlid before Mubarak Jelani had them doing the outright Christmas like celebrations, was actually like like closer to like the moderate, correct way of what we are supposed to do. Even those that even the fatwas that say that it's okay to like celebrate the Mawlid, this is how they say to do it, right? Yeah. You don't have a party, you don't like you go over the Sirah, you talk about his birth, you go like these types of things. You not have a big elaborate Christmas like party, you know. So it's just interesting that, you know, they had, I mean, it's just you can see the clear misguidance that Mubarak Jelani came with, and she kind of like without even realizing it, and we'll get into it in a minute, she just pay attention to how she describes their cult brainwashing.
Yeah.
So like if you go to the 625 mark,
5 mark, yeah,
is where the setup begins for Mubarak Jelani. And one thing I'm noticing from Mubarak Jelani is that he was a very good manipulator, which most cult leaders have to be. He's a very good manipulator. He exhibits all the tactics that manipulators do, and this is one of them that he does.
And you know, one of the things I have to say, Shaji, when he first came, he said, read Holy Quran from cover to cover, and then read Sahih Bukhari hadiths, and I think that's 8.
All right, wait. Oh, yeah, Allah. All right, listen. So if Mubarak Jelani actually followed his because Jaffer mentioned this about how he's a perfect manipulator, right? And in the chat, he talked about how one of the things about being a good manipulator is that you draw attention to things that you should avoid, so that way people don't suspect you of doing such, right? So Mubarak Jelani telling you to read Bukhari cover to cover, the Quran cover to cover. If he read the Quran cover to cover and Bukhari cover to cover and Muslim and all the other books hadith, and he came away with his ideologies and thoughts and beliefs after that, Allahu Akbar. It's just that's crazy. That's crazy.
Or 9-volume hadith, read it like a bed book that you read at your bedstead table. So when I tell you something, you will know that this is coming from Holy Quran or hadith.
Yeah. So pause it right here. Or right here. That's what you call the bait and hook, right there. Right. So like as Amr said, if I am trying to scam you, right? Let's just take it to like a car salesman, right? So a tactic that a good car salesman will do is tell you how car salesmen are always trying to scam people. Now automatically you have your guard down. You're like, well, if this car salesman's telling me that all car salesmen are scammers, then he obviously isn't one, right? So the same thing with Mubarak Jelani saying is like, okay, read the Holy Quran and the Hadiths, right? And talking about Sahih Bukhari.
Yeah.
No one's gonna. You could read through Sahih Bukhari. There's no way you're gonna remember even like one volume worth of Hadiths.
Yeah.
You'll just have a vague idea of like Hadiths, right? So that's one thing. Two, most people aren't going to do it. That's two.
Yeah.
So no one's going to be able to like say, hey, I remember this Hadith in this cover. Why are you saying this wrong? And three, now you let your guard down.
Yep.
And then and now she explains it, because that once I heard this, I was just like, here we go again. Once she said this, now they're gonna automatically start tricking themselves, brainwashing themselves to thinking that everything that he says is from the Quran and the Sunnah, from the Quran and the Hadith. And she goes through this whole process telling her story of how it actually happened to them without even realizing it.
Yep. And to piggyback off of what Jafar said about the car salesman, right? Because I've had jobs where I've done sales. The idea is, after you get the trust, you say, but for you, right, I have a deal just for you, right? So you make them special. So for Mark Jelani, like, he's coming to them with the idea that, hey, but just for y'all though, for y'all are the chosen community that I came to God myself personally, and I will help lead us to the promised land. So he tells them, okay, be careful of this person, but also I am this person that's different from that person, where I'll guide you all to, because for a lot of folks in the Jamaat, who Mark Jelani is viewed as their like get out of hell free card. They're going to use him. It's like, okay, like he says, I will intercede for you. I'm the fourth question in the grave. All right. So all this make believe Sufi crap, right, that he has spouted over the years, he used on y'all when you're like, okay, who's this person? Avoid this person, but also trust me though, because now your guards let down. And also, you know, I could be an Arab, all right, maybe. So
and it's funny, like, so real quick, like you meant, it reminded me of just of an incident of, you have this guy who's coming, when he first came to y'all, he said, you know, make sure you're studying the Quran and Hadith so that you make sure that everything I'm saying is correct, right? And you also have the same man who years later was giving a speech to his followers and allegedly acted like Rasul Sallallahu took possession of his body and started speaking to them, and then guaranteed them all paradise.
Yep.
Like this is the guy you're talking about. You know, and it's funny because this clip started at like 6:30 something, and within she started off talking about Quran and Sunnah. We have to make sure he's sticking to the Quran and Sunnah. This is what he told us. Within 30 seconds, she gets to the point where it's like, all right, we don't care about the Quran and Sunnah. And she doesn't say it, but listen to what she says right now.
By that time, as time went on in between classes and reading and dhikrs and what have you, we had, even though we had bayat with him, those who did, we still, our trust and our iman in following him had gotten stronger. So this particular year,
there it is.
He wasn't in the States.
That's it. So she went from, before Mubarak Jelani, and remember, like, this is what cult leaders do. They identify what you value, they mirror that value, then they slowly get you away from that value. So if you look at the Dar al-Islam before Mubarak Jelani came, they were heavily upon, we're following the Quran and Sunnah. We're not going to even let like these foreign Muslims like dictate what true Islam is. We're following the Quran and the Sunnah. You have her, she's teaching at the school, and she's teaching, you know, in accordance to the Quran and Sunnah. The Sheikh comes, identifies that, oh, these people are like really on the Quran and Sunnah. Okay, so I'm going to identify with that and say, you know what, make sure you're reading the Quran and Hadith to make sure that everything that I say is correct, which as a Muslim, no other Muslim should have to tell you that, right? This is like a standard thing in Islam. So now you're to identify with that. Then she got to the point, now she's saying, we had done these dhikrs and all these other different things that our trust had built up so much in our iman in him,
yes,
iman and following him so much that we just trusted him. So now it wasn't like, now you're not even verifying what he says against the Quran and Sunnah, because this whole story is about the Mawlad. At no point did she say, she's mentioned multiple times, and I don't know if we'll cover them all, but she mentioned multiple times in the story how they had apprehensions, they were hesitant, they're like, where is this coming from? At no point in the story does she mention, like, we checked the Quran and Hadiths and we're verified that it's okay to do it. We verified what he said was correct. All you hear her say throughout the whole thing is, he told us to do it, so we did it. That's it.
Yep.
And that's their dean.
And she mentioned how he wasn't like there, so he was overseas. And so one of the things, in order for you to build like a lore and mystique, is you give folks a taste, right? And then they never get to have it again for a while, right? So from Barjolani, he came there, right? And he did what he needed to do. He then fled back to Pakistan because he was on the no-fly list, so he couldn't come back to America, right? And even though he could fly as a bird, anyway. So this man went back overseas, right? And now his entire legacy is on the like idea of the old heads. So the old heads are just telling stories and mystical things. And now, right? If someone tells a story, okay, well, I saw him move the moon, right? Saw him move the moon? Yeah, I saw him move the moon, right? And someone else can say, oh, well, me, I saw him. He fell out of a car into a lake. And after I looked at the car, he was back in the car. Like, none of that stuff happened. But someone has to outdo each other. So now, oh, well, the Shirk is special to me too. And so then his story grows, and none of this stuff ever happened in reality, but people are going to believe it because, I mean, someone said it to them. And so here we are 40 years later, with folks is still like, he's talking to me from the grave. No, he's not.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, so play this for another like 10 seconds, and she just gets into like
Pakistan, but he sent a message telling the administration that he wanted us to have a Milad celebration. And we're like, okay, what is that? He said, get lights. Tell the ladies to light up.
Okay, wait. So she literally said it right there, right? Want us to have a Milad celebration. What is that? Because for them, it wasn't a thing. So it's like a lot of the like innovations and stuff, it came from him directly. Because at the end of the day, and as many channels as you guys make from the Jamaat, Team Away Youth, Team Away Old Heads, Team Away Middle Agers, Team Away Toddlers, I don't care. At the end of the day, y'all can't just be adjacent to the problem. The problem you guys have to face is still there. Mubarak Jelani, his teachings, until you guys denounce them and okay, this is Shirk, Bid'ah, then you can move on. But you're not just gonna just make 1,000 channels and be like, oh, we didn't even talk about seven sultans anymore. No, who's seven sultans? No. This is the core foundation of your beliefs, of your leader's beliefs. He left his wife in charge. That's like
it's literally like TMOA had cancer, and there's a giant tumor inside of TMOA, just like it would be inside someone's body. And then alhamdulillah, R2F and others have identified, got a tumor in your body. And a lot of people, even that are still in TMOA, recognize like, yeah, we got cancer, we got a tumor. But instead of like going to get the surgery to get rid of the tumor and get it out of your body, you're like, maybe we'll just start, cut down on sugar going forward. or something stupid like that. Like maybe eat a little healthier going forward. No, you still got cancer. It's still there. You have to get it out. You have to, the root of the problem. Otherwise, it's going to affect everything y'all do. And it's really sad watching this stuff, because I wish these especially these older generations would really honestly critically look back at what they've been through and what has happened, where you went from a community that was following the Quran and Sunnah, that was moving away from crime, violence, drugs, and all that. And now looking at what we know now, you have a community that does not follow the Quran and Sunnah, that is littered with Shirk and Bid'ah. We got the seven sultans, Shirk. We got all the Bid'ah, kissing graves, tawaf around masjids, tawaf around shrines, all these different things.
Shrines.
You have, you have people that you said, okay, he was getting us off drugs, allegedly. But we know you guys weren't getting away off of drugs already. But you have a sheikh that is confirmed he was taking marijuana in his last days, taking marijuana, something that's haram. So you have people that was, oh yeah, he got us off of drugs, even though he takes drugs, right? You have, oh, he got us away from violence, even though he told us to blow shit up. Like
repeatedly.
Look where you're at.
Yeah.
So what's the next clip we got going?
We
got
okay. He sends a message saying, Shai just sent a message saying, have a parade. Like, what? He said, have a parade. Tell
okay. You see, like she's like, yeah, what?
She's like, again, and for the old heads, because I feel like R2F has reached its like target audience the most with the old heads, right? The old heads
Yeah.
talk about R2F more than probably any other generation. Because Uncle MJ, Uncle Avim, because folks know, oh, Amber's on the show, and Amber's parents are known amongst all the old heads. So they're talking to my father. So like for the old heads, y'all know this is wrong. Y'all know like y'all know this is wrong. But I guess maybe you don't want to admit you're wrong because you're arrogant. But listen, before you pass away, because she talks about how they're dying. The older heads are passing on because that's what happens in life. As you get older, you closer to the grave. Before you pass away, please, like, just say, hey, listen, this man was wrong. All right, we got duped. It's okay. All right, because it happened now. Right, you guys can't go back in time and change it. All right, so this isn't gonna just reverse itself. It happened now. What you can do with the time you have left is to admit that you were wrong. All right, and say, hey, listen, he didn't move the moon.
Yep.
He didn't transform into a bird. He was this cool figure. We were duped. It's okay. All right. Like, what do you know?
It's funny because, like, even in our own chat, like our R2F chat, we have all types of personalities in our chat. Like, but you see her reaction, and she does it throughout the video where she's like, "Oh God, what is that?" Or
yeah,
she just we were hesitant,
back and disgusted. Yeah.
Right. Whenever that happens, like in our deen, that's when we, as responsible, God-fearing, Allah-fearing Muslims, say, hey, where do you get that from? I don't care what it is. If you have some kind of apprehension or hesitation, that could be your fitra talking, saying, hey, stay away from that, right? So that's when the question should have been like, hey, where in the Quran and Sunnah does it say we do a parade on Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam's birthday?
Yeah.
Right? Like, how many times, even, and you know what, you could be wrong. You could have a hesitation because of your misguidance previous in your life. We run into it all the time in our R2F chat, or even in different classes. You see it. Like, how many times have someone said, hey, as Muslims, we're supposed to do XYZ or not do XYZ, and then someone's not heard it before, and the first question he asks is like, hey, what's your support for that? And it's never like, oh, how dare you ask me for support? Do you know who I am? No, people get hadiths, people get ayats, people pull up the tafsir, and they get to support for what they're doing. That's what we're supposed to do as Muslims. So this is what y'all older generation should have. That's where y'all failed at. Is he was telling y'all to do stuff, and y'all weren't asking. We know why, because you might have been killed, you might get kicked out of the Jamaat, whatever else negative consequences. But the next generations, this is what you guys should be instilling on them. Instead of that hear and obey, we hear and obey Allah and Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Anybody other than that, if something seems wrong, we have a responsibility to ourselves and those around us to say, hey, where do you get that from in the Quran and Sunnah? And if they can provide the support from the Quran and Sunnah, alhamdulillah, then you learn something new. And now when you go and tell other people, hey, go do XYZ, and they say, hey, where you get that from? Oh, there's this ayat, and then there's this hadith that's sahih, and this is our responsibility as Muslims.
Yeah.
Banners, like, oh, we're just so happy, so proud to be doing this. And
okay, so right here, she's saying this, right? She's happy to do this, but the entire time when she's bringing up how it started, she is grimacing, literally, like internally, like cringing, like I can't believe we did this. So she has to. I say, listen, the old heads who are holding on to this belief, they have to save face. So even when body language, 50%, 60% of all communication. So you can tell from her body language, her face is literally cringing and just like, I can't believe we did this. But she's over here like, I was so happy we had a parade and we had the celebration and the lights. It was just so great. It's not true. We can tell it's not true because you're masking this. It's not something you want to actually do.
Well, so check it out. So here's a. I'm glad you brought that up. That's a key observation. So in the point before the actual event or the action occurred, right before they're engaged in the action, her fitra was grimacing, like, no, I don't know. Like, you can see, like you said, the body language. And this is, and I'm not, like, again, we're staying away from the whole debate of like if it's a sin and all we're gonna get away from that. But typically, before you do something that you know is wrong, before you actually do it, you're like, I probably shouldn't do that, right? Let's take it out of the sin context, right? You're trying to lose weight. You see a big, giant, nice, dessert, in the kitchen and you're like, I probably shouldn't eat that. But once you start eating it, you actually feel pretty good eating it. Like, oh, this tastes good.
Like,
This is
great.
Right. And this is the case you have here, because yes, having a party is fun. Why wouldn't you have fun and feel good having a party, getting together with your friends, doing something, drawing pictures, making signs? That stuff is fun. So of course you're going to feel good doing that. And this is what the religion of TMA members has boiled down to: their emotions and their feelings.
Yeah.
Because the Maulad it's not about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
It's a social like activity.
It's a social function. They get dressed up. Hey, did you get an outfit? What you wearing? What you cooking? Yep. Oh, that's what it is.
And that's the thing for a lot of cults, is that it's a societal and a social thing. Like TMOA really is, when you get down to it, it's really, like I say it all the time in the chat, it is the world's worst country club. All right. But but all the members, right? And for a lot of them, you grew up together. Your families know each other. You're probably gonna marry someone in the family. So it's really just a big like family like club, right? Everyone knows each other, right? And you guys get together and you have celebrations. And even though no one has money, right? You guys do your best to get together and have a great time as best as you can. You're all wearing nice clothes, or the best clothes that you can find. And you're with all your friends because you've known these you've known them since you were born, since like diapers. So now you're 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, all the years you know them, right? You guys are real close. And so the reason why the Jamaat works so well is because the idea of kicking someone off of Jamaat, right? You lose that whole, it's a whole like ecosystem you have in Jamaat. And if you're not there, where are you gonna find that same group of people that you know that are all close and tight knit? Even though like a lot of people in Jamaat are shady, for the as soon as you're done with them, you're just like, be gone. But while you're there, it is the feeling of like brothership is so strong, and that's why people are attracted to the Jamaat still. Like, even though they're like, yeah, I know it's wrong, but like my kids are there, or my kids love going there because all their friends are there. So this is what's hard for a lot of people when trying to leave the Jamaat, is that where do I go now?
And it's funny you say it, because the next section that she talks about is directly that, with the lady that's like, oh, I wish I was with y'all, right? So she keeps going.
There was a woman, a lady that was she was with her. They were with us during the Dar. Her husband made Umrah. Her husband went on a killer with Shaji, came back and decided, I'm not going to be a part of this. But she was still kind of wanting to be a part. So she came downstairs. I remember she was standing on Alabama Avenue next to her building, and she just stood there with us. And I remember thinking, oh, God, I wish she could just be with her. She looks like I really would if it wasn't for my husband. I'd be right there with you. So
okay, wait. Listen, I'm not married yet, all right? But if I'm married to a Muslim lady, right, and she's like, I just really want to be with this other nigga, bye. Like,
well, if I didn't catch it the first time. The first time I heard it, I was listening to it on like 2 times speed and just kind of breathing. So I thought they were talking about another family broken up at the beginning of Dark because one lady wanted, because we have examples of that, of husband or wife wanted to go with the new crew, the other one didn't, and then there was a splitting up families. I thought it was another case of that, but she's saying that the lady didn't participate because she stayed with her husband who didn't follow Jelani. But what I noticed here, and I have to I'm trying to stay away from like criticizing her specifically, but you have to listen to what people said, because she said, I had this thought that she was thinking.
Yeah. Those are your thoughts.
Yeah, you have no idea what this lady's thinking. She could have been looking at y'all like, what
y'all crazy
kind of crap are they into?
Yeah.
Right. But let's say she's true, right? So we don't know what the lady was thinking or what was going through her mind, if she wanted to be with them or not. Alhamdulillah, she stayed with her husband, who I'm pretty sure she is enjoying the fruits of that decision by staying by her husband, who did not follow the cult leader Mubarak Jelani. Pretty sure she's happy about that. But let's say she was looking at all her friends, possibly family members, neighbors, children. Maybe her children's in the house. They're all outside looking like they're having a grand old time. This is why people don't leave. Amr just mentioned it, because she's looking like, hey, I wish I could just, I want to go be with my people. Go have fun with my people. Even though it has nothing to do with Islam, right? Well, I mean, a little related to Islam, but she didn't do it. But the social part of it. I'm pretty sure the lady wasn't thinking, oh man, I really want to engage in this sunnah. I really want to engage in this beneficial worship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No, if she was regretting like not being out there with y'all, it was simply the fact of like, I want to go hang out with my friends. Right. And that is not a way to base your religious decisions on. Rasul Sallallahu tells us, be careful who you take as your friends, because you will be on the religion of your friends. Even us who are like, we want nothing to do with Tiamwe. But every now and then you're like, man, I miss hanging out with the boys. I miss laughing. I miss playing ball. I miss joking around. We're humans. Yeah, we miss that. But some of us, nah. Some of us. But
it's none of y'all niggas.
But there's nothing that would, like, you got to go by. There's nothing that would make me say, okay, I'm going to try to be friends with these guys just for the sake of nostalgia. Remember, nostalgia is a very tricky thing when you're going to disobey a law and do stuff that you know is not correct. How many times have people been, jumped into sin, knowing it's wrong, not wanting to do the sin, but they just wanted to be with their friends? How many times it happens? It happens every single day, to all of us.
And another thing that we just like glossed over was when she was talking about how the lady's husband went on Umrah a kilowatt with Shaji. So like just just things on the side here. So,
yeah, when the kill was when they were having all these visions and people legit, and even people that are in TM when they put it in their book, they thought they were getting drugged. They thought Varjani was putting LSD in their coffee and stuff. So, but you decided to follow the guy. It's ridiculous.
Yes, we're having spiritual trips with LSD.
Dotage, and people are crying. And back then, Dotage was so emotional for us. Another story.
Just pause it. Just emotions, crying, emotions. In Islam, we don't make our decisions based off our emotions. Just life in general. It's not a good idea to make your decisions based off your emotions, right? This is one of the reasons. Well, this is when we look at like why men are supposed to be leaders and imams, why men are the leaders of the households, right? One of the wisdoms behind that everybody mentions is that, and we have studies, even non-Muslim studies, scientific studies, that show that men are more logical and rational and tend not to let their emotions influence their decisions, whereas women, their emotions play a heavy part in their decision making. And there's pluses and negatives in different arenas of having those qualities, right? That's why you don't say, a man's better than a woman or vice versa. We have our traits, we have our characteristics. But in Islam, I am not aware of anything that says, okay, if this is, if you're emotionally attached to this, then it's right. No, we look at the Quran, we look at the Hadith, we look at what Allah said, we look at what Rasul said. Just because you were crying, you felt emotional, you were emotional, you were happy, all these different feelings that were coming in, and not at one point did you reference anything from the Holy Quran and or Sunnah to support what you were doing, to suggest that, like, I was so emotional because I was getting all these blessings because Allah said you get such and such blessings for doing this on the Mawlad, or Rasul said do this on the Mawlad and you're gonna come close to me. You don't bring in none of that. You're happy about the fact that you're obeying your cult leader and all of y'all are having fun while you're doing it. That's simply it.
Keep them dancing and happy.
Shaji taught him to do Darul Salam, our Darul Salam, that we thought for weeks that he was speaking in Urdu. We didn't know it was in English.
Okay. Bro,
I'm gonna let you go ahead and have that one.
She just exposed the biggest lie that was ever told to me in the Jamaat, because while I was in the Jamaat, no one ever told me about the seven Sultana Fuku or any of the other bullcrap that they spewed, right? But what niggas did tell me was that this nigga was speaking English, all right? I promise you, he was not speaking English. Well, like, to this day, even when there's videos, he's like, oh, it's like, no, fam, what is this? He has never been speaking English, and the nigga's like, Amr, you just gotta open your heart. She literally just said they thought he was speaking in Urdu. It was English the whole time.
Yeah.
His English has literally, like, his English was bad 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, until the day he died. Like,
Yeah.
he was never speaking English. So this moniker that if I just open my heart, or if I believe in him hard enough, then I'll understand. All of y'all have been lying to me. There's just no way, because
you know it's hilarious because this is like, she says this back in like 83, around that time, right? Around when Mubarak like first came. And you'll have people who will like deny that Mubarak Jilani taught the seven sultan concept, that he ever claimed to be the sixth sultan or anything like that, right? You have people who deny these things. But right here you have in the beginning years, and they said Mubarak Jilani taught them this nasheed, right? This not. Which is very funny. So he taught them this. The whole thing behind this whole poem or whatever song is the concept of the seven sultans. And in fact, the part of the end song, the culmination part of the song, honors Mubarak Jilani. So look at where we're at now. We're on the Maulad, which is supposed to be about honoring Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And he teaches you guys a song to honor himself. Use your common sense here, guys, right? And so anybody denying this whole thing about the seven sultans, about him not claiming it, he's teaching you songs about it. You guys sing it after every Juma. You sing this song that is littered with shirk every Juma. So there's that. And I hope we have time. I hope Bark jumps on so we can go over the shirk songs. But so play this. I think they actually play like one of these shirk. They're singing one of these shirk songs right here.
We were like, wow, this was fantastic. But because the first Milad, us from coming from a generation of that thought it was haram to even celebrate, and then to see each year how much we progressed, because that year it was just Brooklyn, and then the next year Shai said do this, and then have people come, and then have people come, and even like when we started coming down here from a lot, and we would.
So they didn't sing it. So, but again, we talked about this in the beginning. She calls it progression, but really it's the opposite of progression. They're devolving, or whatever the antonym to progression is. He builds up more and more trust as the years go on. More and more they give themselves over to him and have no free will, have no common sense, have no ability to look in at the Quran and Sunnah and see what they're doing is correct or wrong. And it just progresses onto there till 40 years later you have people making sajda to his grave. I mean, this is your progression, that you have people that said that there's, as far as the Maulad goes, one, it is bona fide, no one could disagree about it, that it's a doubtful matter.
Yep.
Nobody can, if anybody comes on and says it's not a doubtful matter, they don't know what they're talking about, right? There's nuances into it. Some say it's permissible with certain caveats and exceptions. Some say it's impermissible. Whenever you have disagreements among the scholars, and it's at least a doubtful matter. You'll have some that say it's clear bid'ah and haram, and some say like, nah, go ahead and have a party and do it up. But it's a doubtful matter. Okay, so you went from a community that was so fearing of Allah, that wanted to practice the Quran and the Sunnah in its purest form, that they took the safest route by just saying the Maulad's haram, we're not going to do it. And your progression was to doing it one time without questioning it, to doing it every year without questioning it, to making it a bigger and bigger celebration every year. You're Sheikh doing this, to now you're a community that is so far away from the Quran and Sunnah that you make tawaf around shrines and graves. You make sajda to a dead person. Like, look at the extremes. It took Rasul some 23 years to get rid of the ignorance and to bring true Islam to the Arabs at that time. And who knows exactly how long it took Mubarak Jelani to derail all these Muslims that were upon, to the best of their ability, the Quran and the Sunnah, to a community that is known for anybody that knows TMOA or knows Mubarak Jelani in the United States and in Pakistan. You're a community that is, to sum it up, off of it. Where in Pakistan, the scholars and the students of knowledge in Pakistan, there's only two types, right? There's only two types in Pakistan, excluding anybody else that's in a part of Mubarak Jelani's family. There's one that have no idea who this guy is, never heard of him. The ones that do know him, who have heard of him, they say stay away from him because they don't practice proper Islam. This is your progression, really? I mean, it's laughable.
Yep. And I put up the hadith about doubtful matters. So on the authority of Abu Ubaidullah ibn Bashir, who said, I heard the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam say, that which is lawful is clear, and that which is unlawful is clear, and between the two of them are doubtful or ambiguous matters, about which not many people are knowledgeable. Thus, he who avoids these doubtful matters certainly clears himself in regard to his religion and his honor. But he who falls into the doubtful matters falls into that which is unlawful, like the shepherd whose pastures avoid sanctuary, all but grazing therein. Verily, every king has a sanctuary, and a law sanctuary is his prohibition. In the body there is a morsel of flesh, which if it be sound, all the body is sound, and which if it is diseased, all the body is diseased. That part of the body is the heart. Sahih Bukhari and Muslim. So just if you can avoid doubtful matters, then you should.
So we can skip some of these, I think, because we covered a lot. I think we could jump all the way to go to 1718.
All right.
Just so we can have a clear one of her mentioning how they had apprehension of doing this.
So that we would do this and we opened up to everybody. But remembering how the first one where there may have been apprehension, like what are our neighbors going to say? What are people going to say? Look how we're... Okay,
so right there, she mentioned apprehension, right? So again, we mentioned that there is, different opinions on the Milad, right? And so she can hear how the people of the Dar, because they came from the Dar Islam, and then Bartolani is like, hey, come do this, come have this parade, bring the lights, do this Darud, I'm saying in Urdu English, and go from there and celebrate this, right? It's apprehension. So there's doubt in her mind, and probably for a lot of the minds of the members of the former Dar Islam now Jamaat al-Fukra. So they should have just left it alone and said, we're not doing this. But because again, I mentioned this during Scheherazad's third episode, right? How he wasn't there anymore, right? So the torch that carried on for his first arrival 40 years ago was all the old heads. So had they just stopped it, he wasn't coming back to check on y'all. He wasn't gonna come say like, hey, are y'all following me again? Y'all could have blocked his number and moved on it, and none of this would have happened.
Yeah. And you know what I think also plays into this as well is that during that time frame, so a lot of these, especially the older generations, they come from a time period, I forget the exact phrase, but it was like anti-culture, right? Mm-hmm. So like African Americans were trying so hard to go against societal norms. A lot of them became Muslim because of this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not doing the Christian thing. That's, I'm going to do the Muslim thing. That's against. And then they would also like dress outside of the culture. That's when they started wearing like the African type clothes or the Muslim type clothes and they wanted to do anything that was against like the mainstream. It was like a form of protesting or rebellion, right? And in everyday context, we see people that have this as part of their nature, right? And we all, and as African Americans, we kind of have it part of our nature just naturally because of just the stuff we've been through generations, right? But like, for instance, there'll be people who, if everybody's getting an iPhone, right? Just because they don't want to be like everybody else.
Big Android energy, all right? Yes.
Or it could be vice versa, whatever like the thing is, right? And it could be something good, right? Say everybody is doing this one thing, and just because they want to be different, they will refuse to do that thing and do something different. So like you look at this and they're looking at all the rest of the Muslims around the United States and it makes them feel special. Oh, we're doing this. No one else is doing it. We have something special. We have something different. And if that mindset plays into that. And now they're like and you have your cult leader telling you like, oh, you guys are special. You guys are the cream of the crop. You're better than the Sahabas and you're guaranteed paradise and all that. Real quick, if this person's watching, or anybody that has this mindset where, especially if they're at this this hocus pocus meeting where Mubarak Jilani was possessed by Rasul Sallallahu, and Rasul started speaking to them through his lips, and he guaranteed y'all paradise. I don't have the reference, but there's in the Quran, it's in Surah Al-Baqarah, where the Jews said the same thing. And Allah has the perfect rebuttal for everything that we can find in the Holy Quran that y'all continue to do. Y'all think y'all guaranteed paradise? Allah says, then wish for death then. Wish for death. The same thing he told the Jews. If y'all think y'all guaranteed paradise, then wish for death. Because if you're guaranteed paradise, why would you stay another second here?
Exactly.
You know you're not guaranteed paradise. You know it. It's just, as Allah says in the Holy Quran, it's just your wishful thinking.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what do we got next?
I guess MD said to do it.
So he said, so again, later on in the video, she says, we did it just because Mubarak Jilani said to do it. So we already talked about that. Yeah. She talks about how he took his time to build us up and then he told us to do it. You're on the right track. He took his time to break y'all down,
yes,
so that y'all could do exactly what he said.
Exactly. Because
so he didn't build y'all up.
It's like all the old heads talk about this like adab that he taught them. And I always like to think about that, like what, like, because respect adab is generally a two-way street. So he had to respect you and not think of you just as monkeys in the first place for him. So like in reality, he really taught y'all obedience. Y'all just mistook it as adab, like because he taught you to obey him and revere him. And so you guys have done this for 40 years.
Yeah,
that's like, but when you boil it down, that's what it comes down to. Like, it's a deep reverence, it's obedience, and also it's fear. Because a lot of them seem to still be scared of him, even though he's dead. I can assure you, right? If he comes back as a zombie, you can kill him, right? Because he ain't moving that fast. So y'all can get rid of him because like you guys will be okay, all right? You should only be scared of Allah. I know that he told y'all fear Allah or fear me, and some of y'all were like, "That's crazy," but other people were like, okay. So if that didn't get to you, this shit now. He is never coming back to life to come chastise you or tell you that what you're doing is wrong. His affairs now are for law, right? And so your affairs, when you pass, if you pass and you go back to Allah with these beliefs, and haven't denounced them at all, you guys are just trying to like okay, well, Abu did a lot of great things as well. You can find the good in every situation possible, but the bad is still there. So you guys, you can't just avoid this. All right. So if Allah says, listen, I would not forgive you if you die upon shirk. This is like the most merciful, the most kind. He'll forgive you for almost everything. Like if you commit a zina and get stoned to death, right? The stone to death is atonement for that sin. So when you die, that sin of zina isn't upon you. But if you die upon shirk, it's not like, because Jafar was talking to Uncle Abdul Jabbar, and he was like, I'm sure if Allah wanted to forgive shirk, he could. He already told you he was not going to do it.
Yep. I remember that. A lot of people take that position.
Yeah.
Because they have, and it's because of our background. A lot of us have this, Christian mentality towards Islam. We're like, everything's just going to be forgiven. Just believe and you're going to get forgiven.
That is not
and
how
the
it
response to that, for anybody that tells them that, like when you bring up shirk and how it's any sin you could think of, any sin, right? Raping your mother, then murdering her, and then raping her dead body. May Allah protect us from all that. That is less of a sin than shirk.
Yeah.
The hadith that we have of the man who killed 100 people, that is his killing of 100 people is less of a sin than shirk.
Shirk. Yeah.
Okay. And whenever they respond to that, like, well, Allah could do whatever he wills. Yes, we know that. Allah is most powerful. Yes, we know that. Allah is most forgiving. Yes, we know that. And the response to that is, and Allah does not lie.
Not lie. Yep.
So when Allah says, I will not forgive shirk, that means he will not forgive shirk. And I can guarantee you that Allah will not forgive shirk because Allah has already told us that he wouldn't.
Yep.
Very simple.
And case in point to that, the Prophet Prophet's uncle, right? If he was gonna forgive someone, right, for dying up on shirk, right, the person who cared for him, raised him, surely him, right? So I can assure you, if he didn't forgive him, Ahlul Bayt, because y'all love Ahlul Bayt, right? Ahlul Bayt, right? You love him, love all Ahlul Bayt, right? Disrespect them. You not Ahlul Bayt, black people. If you die upon shirk, if he didn't say his Prophet's uncle, y'all definitely cooked. All right, so
you know what?
Yeah,
it's crazy that you bring it up because you have people that are in TMOA that do not believe in this shirk stuff anymore, right? They don't believe, and there's some narrations that talk about the passing of Abu Talib, right? Yeah. And he was about to pronounce Shahada.
Yep.
Like we know he's about to pronounce Shahada. Abu Jahl was there, and he was like, "Oh, he's about to take a Shahada." And he's like, "Are you going to abandon the religion of your fathers?" Right?
Yep.
And then he didn't. So there's some narrations that basically say that, and I don't know if it's narration or hadith or it's the scholars inferring things, but if he was about to take Shahada, that shows that Islam was actually in his heart, right? He actually knew, just like y'all know, this stuff is false. But because he didn't take the actions to make himself knowingly clear of it, he's still held accountable to his old beliefs. And we know that he's in hell and he has the lightest punishment in hell.
Yep.
And do you know what the lightest punishment of hell is? I just read the tafsir on this. The lightest punishment in hell is that the people, may Allah protect all of us from this,
the shoes,
are giving sandals of coals. Right? That's the lightest punishment. They're just giving sandals of hot coals. But the coals are so hot that they make your brains boil. They make your brains boil. That's the lightest punishment. So people are going to go to hell. May Allah protect us. People will go to hell that did not commit shirk. There will be people in hell that did not commit shirk, that just committed enough sins so that they didn't make it to paradise. And some of them are going to have that lightest punishment. Now imagine the punishment of the one who committed shirk. May Allah protect us from this. And like this, when someone comes to you, and I don't care whether you're out of TMOA, in TMOA, R2F, non-R2F, whatever, someone comes to you and says, "Hey, you just committed shirk." You should stop and think, like, tell me how. Listen to how they told you, and then really go look, like, did I commit shirk?
Yep.
So that you can seek forgiveness if you actually did. We're telling y'all belief system is shirk, and y'all like, yeah, you don't listen to these guys. They're just
like them anyway.
Because they're just mad at the sheikh and this and that. This is not something you play around with. Like, imagine if we came to your house, right? I came and knocked on your door. All of you listening, me, Amr, Mubarak, anybody from R2F, all these people that you make posters of us, wanted ads, and all these different things, right?
Yeah, I spot that.
We come, we knock, you hear a knock on your door. It's us, one of us, and we say, "Hey, there's a fire coming out your window upstairs."
Fire in my house,
I guarantee you, y'all would say, "Really?" and go upstairs and look. You would go upstairs and look to see if there's a fire, right? Rasul Sallallahu when he first gave the message publicly, he called all the Muslims, especially his family. He stood up on a mountain, and I forget the exact words, but basically he's like, "Don't you guys trust me? Yes, you're the most trustworthy. You're the most trustworthy. If I told y'all there was an army behind me getting ready to attack, would you believe me? Of course we would believe you." Then as soon as he told them about Islam, they're like, "Yeah, we ain't listening to that." We know y'all know us, and that that for the most part we're trustworthy people. You know that if there was something that if we came to your house and told you it was on fire, you would believe us. But something that is more serious than that, more grievous than that, more detrimental to your life in this life and the hereafter, we're telling you that your religion is on fire.
Yep.
Your belief system's on fire. Your actions, your acts of worship are on fire. And you won't even answer the door. Yeah, that's that nigga. You're gonna burn down in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And it's getting too late. Like the sister said, and I'll end with this. The sister said, you know, all of us of our age are passing away.
Yep.
And now it hurts. It generally hurts all of our hearts. Even though we clown on y'all, we joke on y'all, we laugh or whatever. This is just how African Americans do. Every time we hear that Uncle so-and-so, brother so-and-so, Khalifa so-and-so passed away,
Yep.
It's like detrimental to us. Y'all have parties and honor them and this and that. And we generally like feel like, damn, man, I hope he didn't pass away on that belief.
You still believe in that, yeah.
I mean, Allah protect us all.
Yep.
So
do you want to finish this video or do you want to get into the Shirk songs?
We might as well just rock it out so that we can just, I'm pretty sure between now and the next time we have a show, something else will come up that we got to address. So we might as well just go ahead and jump into the Shirk songs, and we can do it quick because we're just gonna point out these are songs that I guess are popular in TMOA. Some of them I've heard of before.
Yeah. And ironically, the very first song I saw was the I See Allah in You song. And I remember having this conversation with my sister because she was like singing the song. I was like, I mean that like this song is definitely Shirk, right? And she was like, everything can't be Shirk. It's because you're part of R2F armor. And I was like, what does I see Allah in you mean to you? And before creation, it's like she's like, yeah.
So exactly. Like, yeah. It's so bad because like even like people that are like, yeah, that Seven Sultan stuff is Shirk, but they're still in the Jamaat, they still go to Juma and they sing the Darood afterwards, not even realizing what they're saying. Even like, so like the first song, so that's I See Allah in You. Well, yeah, we'll just go down. We'll go down the list. So Fanafi Sheikh is the first one.
Yeah.
So Fanafi Sheikh, and the thing is, astaghfirullah, this is why we're not allowed to listen to music, because these things are so catchy. Like in my head, it's like ringing in my head, and I'm like, oh, this is Shirk. I gotta get this out of my head. Fanafi Sheikh, that is my goal. Fanafi Sheikh means I want to become one with my sheikh.
Yes, good for my soul.
Right? Yeah, that's the goal. And then the song progresses, right?
To become one with you, all right?
Become one with the sheikh. Then they go to, I want to become one.
Like,
what's that?
It says here or here. So literally, they don't care about the dunya or paradise as long as they can become one with Marjulani. Because here or hereafter means not. So for them, it doesn't mean anything. Whether as long as they can be close to their Murshid Khamil, all right, that is what they're striving for. And you're seeing, because our brother Hanif talks about this all the time, about how instead of the Jamaat pushing folks learning, the Quran, surahs, hadiths, right? We learned these songs. We learned these songs that are just filled with Shirk. And it's obviously when you're in the Jamaat, you don't know this because this is what you're raised upon. But when you take one step outside, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
I was kind of crazy.
This Fanafi concept is basically a song, and it comes from like the Naqshbandi type teaching, is like you become one with your sheikh. And then after you become one with your sheikh, you can become one with Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Then after you become one with Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, then you can become one with Allah, which that whole annihilation, you can't become one with Allah. Allah is one by himself, right? He's all by himself. You're never going to become one with him, right? You can get to a station where Allah is very pleased with you and honors you and all, but you're not going to become part of Allah. This does not happen. Okay, it's Shirk. So, and you see in here, there's different, like when he talks about the fakir is the path of full light. That's the Seven Sultan concept. Shirk, we already know that.
Distinguishing the wrong from the right. Clearly, you're not if you're singing this song. And then, so not only do they want you to become one with the sheikh, you also have to come on for Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And then
so this
Cool
is go to the next one. All right. It's so crazy. I mean, so they have the next song, Praiseworthy Muhammad, which I didn't find anything wrong with that one. I kind of skimmed through it. The next one is Ya Rasul, take my hand.
Ya Habiballah. This is not where listen, all these songs in the Jamaat are so annoying because I know like most of these things still, even though I haven't sung these songs in years. It's just like it's just stuck in my head. It's like, okay, well, yeah. Oh my god, especially Darul Taj, and the thing you do after the Jamaat. So Bahu reached his destination. He is completely submerged in the Abdul Qadir Jilani Fanas in the Ya Hasan make dua for me. All right. The Mujaddid, listen, this song is so old, right? But again, for those people saying, oh, he wasn't that, the Mujaddid of this century, all right? So the 21st century, all right, or 22nd, 20th, Morshid Khamil, to lead me to the, he resides where I long to be, Al Sheikh Jilani, blessed is he, all right? Please accept the sacrifice from me in hope of the union with thee. First of all, why is this written like freaking Shakespeare? What the hell is, what were y'all on, bro? Ya Jilani, Shah Jilani, you guide us wherever you are. Guide us wherever you are.
Yeah, only Allah guides you wherever you are.
Yeah,
that's
hold the mercy to the world.
Look, so yeah, the mercy to the world. You are the
reason for leaving. You are the, first of all, they spell you anyway. It's you possibly already. Anyway, you are a reason for living. If he is the reason for you guys living, yeah, oh yeah, Allah.
Well, I mean, these songs like kind of spell out what their pillars of their religion are.
Yeah,
it's like, all about Mubarak Jilani.
Okay, wait. So let's go to this song real quick and see how many times does it say Allah's name inside of, all right, so you see Allah's name is said one time right here, okay, and then that's it. So you said Jilani's name about 1,000 times.
About like Jilani,
but Allah's name is said like one time. So this tells you, because in the Jamaat, right, they have this whole like moniker of you don't speak unnecessarily, right? You don't say things unnecessarily, and the only thing that should be on your mind at all time is breathe Allah, exhale who, right? This was a widespread thing, but this song right here, so there's no way y'all singing this song and breathing Allah, exhale who, because everything you're breathing is Shah Jilani.
Jilani, yeah.
Oh, yeah, Allah.
Let's see. So the next one, we've been honored
with the sixth light of Noor. All right.
Yep. So that's Seven Sultan, Shirk song again. I see Allah in you. That's the
before this is the whole Seven Sultan belief. Like, even if you well, it's not what it says. No, the Salah he covers all of this, and we have a whole publication. It's like 14 pages covering all the Shirk in the Salah. If people are still to this day like, oh well, I don't know if Shirk is out of there. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, like, just like use a little common sense. Yeah, there's a certain amount of logic. Allah says so many times in the Holy Quran, like, think, use your mind, right? Use your common sense. Before creation, what is the only thing that existed before creation? Allah. So once anything else existed after Allah had to create it. So that means that's when creation started. So no matter when these boogeymen were created, they were part of creation. They were created.
7 Dragon Balls spawned from Shinran.
Like, otherwise something else had to be creating them. Then if you're saying that all these individuals existed before creation, that means they're uncreated. That means Allah didn't create them. That means you're putting them on the same level as Allah. So for you guys, starting to get, you guys open up your eyes. You guys get mad. We get all these messages like, you guys laugh too much. You guys are joking on you. You're insulting this and that, blah, blah. You are insulting Allah and Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. You are lying on Allah and Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And you have the nerve to contact us about us are giggling or busting a joke every now and then. Look at y'all sing this crap. Our sister was just singing. We have to check her.
Nah, this is like months ago. I was like, I mean, there's just
okay.
But yeah, so fam, like, I long to see I love more shit. Like, go fly overseas. He's only
on the video.
Yeah.
Put a box of cereal on your front door. I'm pretty sure. Put some cookies by the chimney.
He gonna spawn in right there. Oh my god. There's so do they have Darul Taj on here for after Juma or no?
No, they didn't. They didn't have I think that I don't know. They didn't have the Darul Taj. I know they had Dua-e Habibi. I started to look up stuff on that. That's the one that said Kum Kum Ya Habibi.
Come to yeah.
Basically, what that means is come back to life. That's what that Nasheed is saying. Come back to life. right? So Rasul is not coming back to life. We're all coming back to life at the day of judgment. But I don't know what so I didn't pay too much attention. But we have the next one was my beloved Murshid, or I just highlighted this one because I was reading it and it was so weird that the only thing that it reminded me of is like you were supposed to have like this type of love, not for like a sheikh, right? Like it's just this weirdness that how much love they act like they had for their sheikh. But we know it's all bullcrap because as soon as he passed away, they started to talk about, my Murshida, oh, I love you so much.
As soon as they could, like the changing of the guard happened. So like even the Queen of England had a longer stay as like, okay, she's the monarch Queen of England, racist lady. And took some time for them to switch over. It was like he passed away finally. This man gone. Yashik Noor. Indeed.
Go to page 18. Go to page 18.
Okay.
Go to the Sea of Ishq, because I had to touch on this real quick. So if you have time ever, if anyone wants to do a research project, look at the meaning of Ishq, right? Arabic is the most profound language that we have, right? That exists today. And there's different words that mean different things, right? Even though they may be similar meanings. So like, for instance, you ever heard anybody, for those who are out there, think about how you heard someone say, Ibrahim was Khalilullah, but Rasul is Habibullah, right? Like showing that Rasul is higher in the love that Allah has for Rasul is higher than the love that he had for Ibrahim, right? But Khalil, Habib, they have similar meanings, but it's not the same. And it's actually ignorance when people say this, because Khalil is a higher form of love than a Habib, right? And we have hadiths that Rasul is a Khalil of Allah, and so is Ibrahim alayhi salam. So this thing with Ishq, it relates also to like the word love. Habib. However, Ishq is a type of love that is also associated with like sexual desire. And this is what you're singing about to Allah. Like the ignorance, like this relates to like sexual desires, and you're talking about your ishq. May Allah protect us, and associating these words. There's certain things you don't attribute to Allah. I mean, just know what you're saying. You guys they heard a nice word, have no idea what it means. Let's make a song out of it. It's just really sad.
Adore you, oh beautiful who.
And who, for anybody, anyway, I'm not gonna get into that one. That's a longer one. So let's see. The green birds. I highlighted that one because people actually think so. In New York, right? You probably have them down south too. We have these like little green birds up here, right? They're just like little Tweety birds, but they happen to be like greenish in color, greenish or yellow. And people would see them on the land and actually think that they were martyrs coming to visit the land.
Oh yeah.
Oh, look at the martyrs are here, right? And it's like, no, those are just like green birds.
Oh, green
in
birds.
That song,
let's go to the court. What?
The court of Rasul Sallallahu, another made up stuff.
Basketball court.
The Queen of Noor. This talking about Fatima radiallahu anha. But in there it says, indeed, she was the very first sultana. Yeah. So sultana, again, 7 sultans.
So what's the a woman version of like a khalifa? Because I'm sure that they're working their way to have the first like women khalifa in like, because they already have the first imama. So like the first khalifa, she's about to be out here adoring the affairs of the people.
She might claim to be a sultan. Like she just might steal it from her son.
I'm about to say,
actually, go for it. Go for it.
I mean, because it's clear that Noor doesn't really want to do this. Like he's not trying to take over the family business. And he wants to just chill and like become a better Muslim in whatever way he can, and do what he needs to do, work his cars. So listen, Noor, at this point, right? They're like eating from your hand. They love you, all right?
It's probably since it's all made up anyway, we can make up how it works too, right? So I just watched. We went out and seen Black Adam last night, right? And so for anybody that's into like
movies,
comics or whatever,
right? I was
I
told
went to the movies.
I was told that every movie theater has a djinn inside of it, and the djinn possesses you if you go to see them. If you go to see
Yeah,
movies.
the same djinn that followed me from my house that's with me all the time too. We all have a djinn with us. So yeah, he went to the movies with us too. Maybe he enjoyed it. So but basically Black Adam has like the same power as Shazam, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how the movie went is that
spoiler alert.
Black Adam's son, it's part of just this backstory. There's no spoiler. Black Adam's son was a Shazam, but he transferred the power to his dad.
What?
So Noor, go ahead and Shazam that Sultan power to your mother. That way she can Shazam Fatima and them in court, get all y'all money, and take over the Jamaat, and then she'll be the 7th Sultana. It started with a female, it'll end with a female.
Exactly. One of a kind, never before seen, because as Jafar said, it's all make-believe, so you can make up the rules as you go along. It's like playing games with kids, all right? If you ever play games with kids, right, there is a set rules that the kids have in their mind, and the second that they start losing at all, the rules change.
Yep.
It's no fair. She always puts her family first. She's the queen of the universe.
Nobody in the Jamaat. Which one of y'all ladies put y'all family before the Jamaat or your sheikh? None of y'all. What else we got here?
These songs
Where
are
you
terrible. At? Jesus.
No, I was reading them. I was like, I don't even remember like what's the
our king of Karbala. Like, fam, there's no way I would hear someone say this. Like, if Ibrahim Kaba or Kar Ismail was singing this song, like, bro, there's just no way I listen to that jazz. It's absolute garbage. I go listen to music again before I listen to this garbage, bro. Oh, thinkers, thank him and thank our Rub. So again, putting your sheikh in the same sentence as your God just tells you all you really need to know. For the Sultan, son of Nur Allah. What? Hold on, what?
Yeah, man. So basically, right. I think what they're saying is son of. They're talking about Rasul Sallam, talking about he's the Nur of Allah, and that he's their son, basically meaning a descendant. But I mean, again, I don't know how old this song is, but they're talking about the 7 sultans and all that bull crap.
Ya Hashimite, you are the Sultan of Light. Ya Sultan, born in the 6th ocean of light. What? Okay. See.
Yeah, look at down here though, where he starts talking about the white hawk.
No.
Yes, flies the white hawk. 2 rainbows follow. The rivers talk. The flowers bloom with Ismhu. All of this because of you. So all this rainbows, white hawks flying, rivers, and flowers blooming happens because of Mubarak Jelani. Okay.
Yeah.
He gives gifts from the next world. So he's going to the next world. He's going to the hereafter and coming back with like names. Rolex watches.
Yeah. Because he certainly because as we know, Jafar, Mubarak Jelani never spent the money that he got and received from the community for his own selfish worldly needs. All right. Yeah. It wasn't to buy mansions in Pakistan or to have the Rolex that his daughter had or cars and stuff like that. He gave it all away to charity. That is why at his janazah, him being such a big philanthropist in Pakistan, right? There was every Pakistani orphan ever who he fed from all the schools in Pakistan came to his janazah clearly. And everything that he got was a gift from Allah.
But look, the only gifts that I remember him sending was those dirty, must have cost like a half a rupee rings that he used to send over, those gaudy, nasty, like, he went there with $1 and bought off the whole stand in Pakistan and sent them over for people.
I remember
no way they came from the next world.
I remember those rings because I remember a brother went overseas to Pakistan in Virginia and he like purchased a bunch of those rings, right? And then he came back and sold them on Juma and called them Sufi rings, and they were like $10 a piece, right? And folks were buying them by the bundle. And I remember someone like bought it and like they're like part of the finger where the ring was at, it turned green because it's like
oh my goodness. Oh gosh. So where's the next one? So here's on page 39. So he says, Ya Sultan, just by sitting with you, seekers find drunkenness in who?
Alcohol.
So when we're talking about Allah, when you're trying to refer to something, referring to Allah, why would you use words that are associated with sins? Drunk? You were drunk, with Allah? Like, these things are not befitting of Allah. And then also, because this is one of the things that a lot of like goofy Sufis use in their poetry. They use words like intoxicated, drunkenness, and these different things. And they actually associate it with like a high level of like worship, that you're worshiping so much that you kind of like lose your mind, right? But it's so simple, because one of the pillars of prayer, worship, is that you're sane, is that you are of the right mind,
Rational
right?
mindset,
So
yeah.
if you are like drunk, or like say you went temporarily insane, you cannot, I mean, you can, but your prayer is not accepted. It doesn't count for anything. You have to be of a state mind. Like this stuff is just so silly when you just look at it, and oh my goodness.
By
Page
seeing
40,
you,
he
the
says
first
that
day
you have
I found my love of who, as I believed Allah's Jamaat descended on you, Jah Sultan, the Mujahid that fights alongside of you, finds residence in the stomachs, definitely stomachs, all right, of the green birds.
I knew you were gonna say something.
I had to read that. I'm sorry. All right. You have wait, hold on. You have taught us and made us teachers. All right. Now
What
listen.
teachers?
As someone who went to the Jamaat schools, right? Grew up on them. I can assure you, if that's what he taught y'all, and then proceeded to teach me, yeah, terrible job. Because I went to college, I was like, huh? What is this?
Well, let's just look at it. 40 years. Do we have, in 40 years, has Mubarak Jalani produced any teacher that is recognized by anybody outside of the Jamaat as being a teacher of any type of Islamic studies?
Nope.
And that answer is no. He has not. Even like if any of these people that allegedly graduate from Azhar, that if they do start teaching and they do get credentials to actually teach people, that means they were produced by Azhar.
Yeah.
Not Mubarak Jalani. He didn't produce anything.
Other Islamic school. Because
yeah,
I say this all the time.
Go to
he wasn't qualified to teach y'all anything. So this idea, is that it?
Well,
so this
think about it. We have what is the channel's name? What is the guy's name? The Norris YouTube channel.
Norris
right?
YouTube channel.
You want to see, so like you have the his son, who's direct connection with Mubarak Jalani, who should be like Mubarak Jalani's like prime focus. Like, I need to make sure you're ready because you're going to take over the Jamaat.
Yeah, exactly.
You're the seventh Sultan. I'm like, my attention is going to go to you, right? Because I got to make sure you're ready. So his prize student, his top student, go to Noor's YouTube page and then see what Mubarak Jalani has produced.
Yeah, and this is the thing too, like, because I think some of the other times, like, oh yeah, like our father never talked to us about the business and whatever the hell. That definitely, listen, that could be true in a sense, but one thing I know for sure about fathers when they're in your life, they love to tell you about what they have going on, and they love to teach you things about what they do. So me, I had no interest at all in doing construction, right? But I know a lot about construction because my father does that. Like, he's doing, so I know how to use all the power tools, cutting stuff, saws, all the things, putting up walls, drywall. So all that I learned from being proximity to my father, right? So dads love to have you do this stuff. So there's no way that if Mubarak Jalani's skills were that, oh, he is a great mujaddid teacher, student of knowledge, all this stuff, right? He's so knowledgeable that his kids will be this like misguided and having to just like, what does this mean? They should know because he's supposed to be the person, right? For example, Jaffar's kids are going to be very educated Islamically because both of his parents are a lot like that. All right,
Inshallah.
I mean, but like just knowing y'all, like I know for sure Layla ain't about to have a kid just going crazy. So like, like just by association from your parents, you pick up things, and so we see what they picked up from their father because they're not very knowledgeable on things that happen in the Islamic world. So if the father was, they would have, even if they weren't like, okay, yeah, it's just how we're talking to us, they would have some knowledge here and there, which doesn't seem to show. The most knowledgeable one they have is Fafa, and she admits that she had to learn that herself.
Yeah, straight up. Yeah, straight up. It'll be, you know what, Noor, Fatima, whoever, one of his kids, I would love for y'all to, make a video and teach the world about the seven sultans. Oh, just do it. Like this is your father's legacy. This is his, this is who he says he is, and this is what he swindled Jamaat on, is this whole thing of the sixth sultan, him being the sixth sultan and the seventh. So please make a video and teach the world about it, since this is like a crux to being in TMOA, and your father was this alleged great teacher and influencer and whatever else you guys are saying about this guy. Go ahead, make the video about the seven sultans. We'll see what it comes up with.
I wish, like, in a not as serious thing, if we could have a game show. It's like, do you know more than Jaffer about Jelani? It's just every member of the Jamaat versus Jaffer, and like a quiz, and it's just like push the button first, see who knows more. And Jaffer has like all the proof. It's like, yeah, sorry, this is wrong too. It's just sure.
It's funny because the thing that these type of people do is, because it translates even just like the whole thing of the Jamaat. The Jamaat, you do not need proof for anything, right? All you need is status, and then that's your proof, right? And so, like, even when you're debating with Jamaat people, and I've had debates with the highest levels of administration, and we would debate about, like, I remember when they called me to a meeting about the social media thing when Mubarak Jelani declared it haram, right? And I made a status about, like, this is hypocritical because all of Mubarak Jelani's leaders are on social media, right? So anyway, we had a debate. We're going back and forth, and they're trying to tell me what Shahsab said. I said, no, he didn't. What do you mean he didn't? I said, no, in this discourse, within the first 15 minutes, he said, blah, 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 blah. Oh, well, he says this. I said, no, he didn't. Like, we were just going back and forth. I was telling him, like, what Mubarak Jelani was saying, and know what he didn't say. But what they do every single time is, because Mubarak Jelani says a lot of crap, contradicts himself all the time. They would just say something that he supposedly told them directly with no verification. So everything is unverified. Everything is not authentic, and they say whatever they want. So they would still just win the game, because they would just say, well, in the dream I had on December 5th in 1983, Jelani came to me as a white hawk, and I seen not 2 rainbows, 3 rainbows with flowers growing out of it. And he told me that I could drink alcohol. Okay, buddy.
That's what you want to do. By all means, knock yourself out. I don't know if that's the best course of action. But by all means, whatever works for you. No, but on like a serious point, you see, and this is the whole point of this, is that whenever we see these things come up, and people, because the whole idea of this is that folks are trying to reshape a narrative, right? The narrative is already set. There's nothing, like, I don't care if it's some old head, some other old head, some middle-aged person, some person my age. I don't care who comes out and says things. The narrative is already set, right? And unless you can disprove the narrative that, hey, Mubarak Jelani didn't teach at Shirk, when we have already proved it beyond a shadow of a doubt. This isn't dummy law. There isn't like some doubt here. No. This is 100% certain. All the things that are said about the seventh sultan, the Fukr, all these claims, fear of law, fear of me, all this control the jinns, this has already been proven, all right, without a shadow of a doubt, by the sources that you guys would use to try and deny this. We use to claim that this is absolutely wrong. And you guys haven't even made an attempt to try to disprove this, like saying, okay, well, in the Quran here it says this, in the Hadith here it says this, to try to even justify your beliefs or previous beliefs if you guys don't believe it anymore. Instead, you're trying to just mosey around it and try to forget it ever happened. And then try to just say, but yeah, man, there were so many good times here with Mubarak Jelani. No, in reality, the good times that you have envisioned in your mind were times where you were upon Shirk. So how good were the times in reality? And that's something you have to like come to grips with, like, okay, yeah, sure, it seems good because I was there for Eid and I was wearing my best clothes. I had sister so-and-so make the clothes for me. She also made my kufi for me. I had on some fresh Nikes, and we went to the retreat. Everyone got in the car, and there was my friends there. There was my food. There was Akbar, there's Junaid. Everyone's here. I had a great time. We had food. We ran around as kids, all this stuff, right? But in reality, those times you were there, you were upon Shirk. And so I can't emphasize this enough, because for a lot of people, until you experience something, you don't really know how bad it is. So once you get to learn more about your religion, and just take the steps to just try to learn more about it all, when you get to like learn about Shirk and fully understand how bad it is, that's when you can say, dang, I was like, because it's scary, because like for a while there, and this applies for everyone in the Jamaat, for a while there, you were upon Shirk. And so you don't have an understanding of how bad it is. And so until you do, it can seem like, okay, this is fine, I will go back if I could. No, this is something you want to be far away from. That's why people are like, would you come back to Jamaat? No, never. Period. It's not something that I'm trying to do. It's not like I'm bitter about anything. So the narrative, like, okay, you can say, okay, well, Joffrey's bitter because of his ex, and Mubarak might be bitter because he was part of the administration and he's not. What do you say about me? Because I wasn't. Listen, none of that's what happened to me. I didn't have any other like super traumatic stuff. Everyone loved me, so I don't have any of that. I just know what's wrong, so I'm speaking about it.
You're possessed.
Yeah,
he watches anime.
I watch anime. I'm possessed. If that is what you guys have to say, alhamdulillah, because that means that you have nothing to stand on. That's it.
Yeah. But what you said touches on something. It just reminds you, like, even, you know, this sister. I used to be very close with their family. Like their family was like the first connection I made when I first started coming around the Jamaat. I was like, her son used to be one of my best friends, you know, growing up, even until adulthood, you know, very close friends. And yeah, I look back at it like it was like almost like a tradition, because like when the first Eids I used to go to, you know, she used to make, she made a breakfast. They make breakfast. Like that's like their family thing. They make breakfast every Eid, and it became like a tradition. But before, like their family, like the sons and stuff and daughters took it over doing that type of tradition, it was her. She would have breakfast almost every Eid. And I remember going there, and you know, she made this little thing. It's called, I guess, suji. First time in my life I ever had it.
Thing. Anyway.
So I loved it. Like it was like, what is this? This stuff is amazing, right? And I loved her breakfast, loved her suji, and she would make it for me. Alhamdulillah, she would make suji for me like almost every Eid, you know, and it was like a thing. But you know, looking back, like I look back at that, and it's like, man, I love those times. I loved those early Eids, and when everybody was like just one big family, everybody's door was open, and you had fun and all. Yeah, you look back and you're like, man, that was such a. I wish we can go back to that, but I wish y'all could go back to that and then also leave away the shirk and the bid'ah and the oppression and all those different things, you know. And it's sad because these same people that I had this relationship with, that many of us have relationships with, we couldn't even talk nowadays, right? Like, and I would urge, like, you know, if there's any type of, you know, anything there for this sister, for her children that I used to be close with, reach out to me. Let's have a conversation. And, you know, at the end of the conversation, we might still disagree about something, you know, whatever, but you know, at least for Allah's sake, for those old times, for the sake of those old times, let's give it a shot. Maybe you can correct me and get me on the right path, and if that's what you can do, you know. But like you said, like the sister had said, like your sheikh allegedly told you way back in 1980 or 81, have it be supported with the Quran and the Hadith, so that you can make sure that what you're saying is correct and what I am saying is correct, and I will hold you to that, and I will hold myself to that. You know, so that's all I got to say. I don't know if there's any questions anywhere that we could answer.
Not that I saw. No, I think we're good.
Okay, you want to close out, Amr?
Yes. Subhanallah, walhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar, wa la hawla wa la quwwata